honestly, I'm not quite sure why the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series S or X are even out at the moment. Now, hold on. Wait till the very end because there's some details we gotta talk about. But first off, I want to talk about the consoles themselves, the games for these consoles, and why I don't think they're really necessary. Now, I do know that this is how the kind of console generation has been. Every 7 to 8, 9 years, a new console will roll out, sometimes quicker. And I feel like this generation right now that we're in was almost not necessary. Now, don't get me wrong either. The PlayStation 5 has some amazing new features that the PlayStation 4 didn't have. But honestly, I don't see the value there. For $500, it is a better controller and it feels nice, but honestly, overall, I don't know if it makes it worth buying a PlayStation 5 over the PlayStation 4, where you can actually find a bunch of consoles for dirt cheap, like $100 to $200. And the same kind of goes for the Xbox Series S or X, because you can find Xbox One X and One S's for dirt cheap as well. And those controllers are almost the exact same, with a little bit of tweaking, obviously. But I feel like these generation just kind of left me wanting more. Now, we're not even going to talk about the Switch or the Switch 2 or any of that, because who knows with all those rumors coming about. So we're purely focused on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S or X. And it really just feels like a console you may not need to pick up right now. Now, these have been out for quite a long time, which still blows my mind. And they are easy to find in stock now, but when they first started, that was not the case. For the first 2 or 3 years of the lifespan of this generation, you kind of couldn't find a console just sitting on stores. Now, you could go into a retail store and might get lucky, but you weren't going in and seeing 3 to 5 consoles just on the shelf, which kind of makes this a little bit more interesting. They were definitely more sought after a few years ago. However, I feel like the consoles themselves are kind of just there now. You don't really want to go out and pick one up. There's nothing to draw you there. And it's almost a 5-year-old console. So, would you spend the $500 or maybe wait 2 or 3 more years and get a brand new console? Now, I know people are going to say, but the PlayStation 5 does this, or the Xbox Series X or S does this. And I understand they are better. The PlayStation 5 has better graphics, it has better processing. The controller, like I said, was much better, but it's kind of the same for the Xbox. The controller, not as much for the Xbox, but I feel like a lot of people think that these consoles are the end-all be-all, and realistically, I don't really think so. Which takes me to the games. Now, games are what sells consoles, and I think that's what this generation has a problem with, and that is the games themselves. Half of the PlayStation 5 games that I own are just remakes, and we'll get into that, but I want to also say I don't have very many PlayStation 5 games physically and a few digitally, so I maybe own 10 PlayStation 5 games just purely because, one, I don't want to go out and spend $70 on a remake because, that's how much these cost. Now, I do know there's some amazing games on these consoles, and I definitely am going to pick up a few of these games as a PlayStation 5 owner, but I don't see myself returning to the PlayStation 5 as much as I might have for the PlayStation 4, to be honest with you. And the Xbox Series X, I don't own any games for it. I don't own an Xbox Series X. I have an Xbox Series S. So I do have a few digital titles, maybe 3 or 4. But the majority of those games I'm playing on Xbox Game Pass because, why would I want to go out and pay $70 for a game I can play digitally for $10 a month? It just doesn't add up for me. Now, I know there are some exclusives to both consoles, but honestly, there's not that many of them for the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox, so that kind of doesn't do me any good there either. Now, I will say, if a game is on both consoles, I'll usually try to play it on the Xbox if it is on Game Pass, because I'm already paying for it. I might as well play a game that I can play for basically free. But I don't feel like these consoles really have that much going for them. There are some amazing games. I want to keep saying that. I want to keep stating that. There are some amazing looking games, playing games, and everything like that. But I know I said I wasn't going to go back to the Switch, but if we look at the Switch in the last 3 years, and then we look at the Xbox or the PlayStation, I feel like Nintendo's winning this. Now, yes, the Switch has been out for like 17 million years by now, but the games are making me go out and buy them. Even if they are remakes, I'm going out and buying them. Whereas the PlayStation ones, yeah, there's a few like Uncharted that I want to play, but I'm not like chomping at the bit to go buy them day one because I know they'll be there later, which it is what it is. For me, Nintendo games seem to be better. They seem to be coming out more frequently, and I feel like Nintendo's the only kind of video game company that's of the big three that's actually releasing stuff that I want to go out and get, whether it's day one, the first week, first month, or whatever. I feel like the other two are kind of lackluster in this. And I know I said the price of both of these are $500, and I could go and buy a used console for $200, maybe $250, depending on what I get. And I feel like I could spend the $500 on a PlayStation 4 and 20 games, or an Xbox Series X and 20 games, and spend the $500 and have more fun and actually be able to enjoy those more. Now, I know they're not going to look as great on TV or whatever you want to say there. The controllers aren't as nice, blah, blah, blah. But I really feel like these consoles are kind of just mid, and nothing kind of makes me want to go out and get them. I have them, I know that. Please don't roast me in the comments for that. But I wouldn't have gone out and gotten them if I didn't have a video game channel. Let's be real here. I would still be playing my Switch and wouldn't even look at the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series, because honestly, they're just kind of boring to me. There's nothing that I'm like, oh, I've got to get that day one. And the games that were coming out when they released were basically remakes, or like Spider-Man Miles Morales was not even a remake. It was like free. It was like paid for DLC that probably should have been free. So I digress. I feel like this generation kind of let us down, and I feel like that we probably could have just been good with Sony and Xbox saying, hey, we're going to hold off a bit. Here's some more games for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and maybe kind of made a Pro model that was actually like competitive, more kind of like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series was. But honestly, I feel like they kind of let us down and are just making consoles to make consoles because it was time to make a new console. I feel like they could have tried harder, and honestly, why at that point wouldn't you just buy a PC and play it that way? I don't know, but I'm going to say this console generation kind of is a letdown. I know I have both these systems, and I've enjoyed both of these systems playing certain games, but honestly, I don't think it's worth the money. If you don't already have these systems, I'd probably think about staying with the PlayStation 4 if you're a PlayStation fan, or staying with the Xbox One if you're an Xbox fan, just purely because of the library and how much you can actually buy those consoles for. So what do you think? Comment down below and let me know. Was this generation kind of a bust for you guys? I'm going to get out of here and go play my Switch. We'll be real here. I'm going to play my Switch. So check out that video out if you haven't already. But honestly, for me, I played the PlayStation 5 a little bit more than my Xbox Series S. But honestly, they're both kind of up there for me. I feel like the PlayStation did some good things, but the Xbox was just kind of useless. I'll be real here. But what do you think? Leave your comment down below and let me know. But I'm getting out of here, so check out that video out if you haven't already.